All right, and welcome to Navigating the Universe. And we've got a wonderful show set up for you today. With us is our wonderful co-hosts, Zach Hanania and Marc Baker. And yes, how's things going over there in Portugal, Marc?
It's going well in terms of natural beauty. It's going very well.
You're not.
Lots of winds. Yeah, lots of winds today. Portugal is under lockdown, but it doesn't make that much of a difference for me. It certainly makes for people who are small business owners, small shop owners, and yeah, I definitely feel for them. But the ones that are whose business is not food related they're having a hard time, that's for sure. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see much of a difference in my personal experience.
All right. And Zach, how are things in Calgary, Alberta?
Very similar to Mark's situation. I find it funny that they allow the restaurants and everything to stay open for takeout and stuff, even though you would think those would be dangerous as well if this virus was really as scary as they thought. But yeah, the lockdown here is basically the same, and I'm just excited for when things start to open up more so we can experience more life again.
I've heard, being I'm from Alberta as well too. I heard from a friend of mine that things are starting to open up in the Spruce Grove, Edmonton area.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, like the same province, but different cities and towns just start doing their own thing eventually.
So I think it's a very, very strategically done thing as far as, yeah, let's lock it down, make it really, really tight. But let's say now that, the numbers are looking good, so we can actually, we'll open a few things to show the people that, hey, they've been doing the real good thing by what they've been doing. We think the numbers are down now a little bit. So let's let a few businesses open up. And you know what I mean? I think there's a smart play by feeding the children some candy a little bit, and so that the agenda still looks like it's a real concerned one by those that say they have our best interests at heart.
Yeah, I agree. Like they started opening schools again and putting some kids back out there. And I think that's the same logic to show that, hey, we've done well, the numbers have gone down, and we can start opening things up again. And then they're just going to keep taking them back home and then back to school. This teeter-totter life that everyone's been living over the past year.
Right. So with today's show, what I'm going to do is give the reins to Marc, and he's going to start it off with an adventure I think we're all going to enjoy. So take it away, Mr. Marc.
Okay, so there is a subject that I thought we could hardly avoid, which is the current situation of the presidential election and inauguration in the United States. Because today is inauguration day, yay, at least for some. And there is such an intense whirlwind vortex maelstrom of chaotic emotions around this. And the stakes appear to be so high to so many that I believe it would be appropriate to elaborate and to try and explore and understand to the best of our ability what's really going on there at some level or levels. And I'm going to freestyle. It's not going to be a very structured presentation. I'm really going to go to explore it as I go and freestyle and free dive. I would start by noticing what I noticed yesterday. You and I, Michael, we are very faithful followers no, that's not the right way to put it. We are friends. We are really, really good friends with George Cavasilas, and we are resonating a lot with his material, with what he's sharing of his own experience and understanding of reality and where we're headed to. And so in his community, so the people who are also resonating with his work, is a lady um, who is very entrenched in her political views, which is a real surprise to me. And she's very much on the, so she's American. She's very much in the democratic slash liberal slash progressive side of the spectrum. And she's absolutely hating, and the word is quite appropriate, she's absolutely hating Donald Trump. And she's posting every day on Facebook about how much she hates it and how he's the lowest of the low, the scum of the earth, and he cannot go away soon enough. And she's counting the days. And yesterday, she literally wrote that he's going to go away like the slimy piece of mold that he is. So you see, this lady is really into the very deep mystical understanding of the world. And she's closely following the work of a man who's entirely about deprogramming us or helping us to deprogram ourselves from ideologies, from indoctrination, from dogmatic systems, from everything that is separating us from our deep, authentic self. And here she is, incredibly investing into a superficial ideology, and not only superficial, but extremely divisive. And currently, America is the place of the world where that polarization between these artificial left-wing and right-wing ideologies is at its strongest. Society is incredibly polarized right now, and has been for years, and already was before Donald Trump entered the stage. And the thing is, there is no such thing as left-wing and right-wing in politics, practically speaking, in reality. Because if you look at the way Democrats and Republicans vote, and I mean the politicians, the Democratic and Republican politicians vote when it comes down to it. On all essential subjects, they tend to vote the same, you know? They go in the same direction. So what do we have here? Naturally, you have people who are more inclined to like movement, who want societal structures to morph and reconfigure themselves to be more aligned with life and with the natural order of things. And you could say that these people are more progressive inclined, and other people are more inclined to enjoy stability and a certain respect of tradition. And these are the ones that, if you translate that into the political mindset, you would call them conservatives. But the whole progressive versus conservative opposition is an ideological distortion of what these natural tendencies are. And as any ideological distortion, it is being used to divide society and to divide people. So we've seen a lot of that. We are still seeing a lot of that. At the moment, many people are absolutely outraged and desperate to see what's going on. Because even if you are very programmed into your progressive / liberal / democratic mindset, it seems pretty obvious to me that there has been a fraud of massive proportions. And, I'm kind of liberally minded myself. I'm more leaning to the progressive side of things myself. But I'm not buying into ideology, because ideology is used to divide and conquer. And so for me, it is really obvious that, okay, there has always been fraud in the electoral process in the United States, always been, and it's well documented, it's well studied and well known. But this time, I believe it's been of really epic proportions, never seen before. And many people have realized that and are really scared of what's going on, are really outraged at what's going on. And on top of that, you have everything that is revolving around the Q movement and the truthers that are part of that movement, and how they have invested in a savior figure, which is an old religious recipe. So they have put all their hopes in Donald Trump as a savior, and the people around him that they call the white hats as saviors, to save them from evil, basically. And that's a very disempowering attitude to have, because if you are waiting to someone to get chestnuts out of the fire, or to put it in a more colorful way, to save your ass, you're really going to be in trouble. You're really going to be in trouble. And we're seeing a lot of that now. Many of these people, they're having a meltdown moment right now. So I really don't know how this situation is going to evolve from here, because to me, there is total uncertainty, the way I see it, in what's going on at the moment. But the people who were completely buying into that Q movement, many of them are totally disgusted right now. They're like, okay, we've been played again, as usual. We've been made fools of, and we're never going to believe in anything anymore, and blah, blah, blah. So the last thing I feel like saying at the moment regarding this whole situation is that, to me, what's going on at the moment is very significant in terms of what's going on with timelines. What we are, in really the grand scheme of things, we are seeing timelines converging and collapsing into one another, and being it's a very messy process, it is as orderly as it is messy, I feel like saying. And right at the moment, it feels like we have in this particular case, in this particular situation, we have two timelines coexisting, so to speak. We have the Biden timeline and the Trump timeline. And they seem to be sort of vying for supremacy or existing side by side. And what's going to happen now is anyone's guess. There's a lot of talk about military intervention, and there's certainly a lot of troop movements that are being witnessed, and lots of theories and lots of channelings, and but I'm watching the situation and trying to stay as open-minded and open-hearted as possible. I don't feel it is my role to invest myself in this situation. I'm holding space for whatever is needed to unfold.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for all that, Marc. Yeah, that's definitely, and I agree with what you've been saying. The converging of the timelines and new age entering into that aspect of the inauguration and bringing that into their spiritual realms, and I've even felt the my attention being drawn into that drama as well too, but not so much as maybe I was at one time, even though it hasn't been that much anyways. But what George talks about level 1, level 2, level 3, level 1 being the old New World Order with the parasitical elite, the banking systems, the families that control the medicals, the oil, the food, and all that. And this has been designed for centuries, And so that's level 1. Level 2 is what I think you're talking about is very much in comparison with like Biden being associated with level 1 in the old faction of that New World Order, where Trump is the promise of a better world, and also technical intelligence and technology and all that, and new toys and gadgets. And to me, that makes sense. But it's funny because I don't really follow a lot of it, but I was sent a video, and he recently, Sienna Lee from Rise Multiversity, she sent me information about a place called, or a site called Life Force. And Life Force, as far as I understand it, sounds like certain governmental people that have good intentions that have broken away from their respective platforms, and they were talking about which makes sense to me too, because they talk. What I heard is, since Trump only has so many days before the inauguration, he's going to go all out, and really the swamp's going to be drained. And behind the scenes, the positive military, the white hats are out there. They've got their texts and they've got their messages and the things they got to do. And ex-military people are putting up audios saying this is what's going on, and it's going to be 10 days of darkness. And the internet's going to be probably down. You're not going to be able to access money with your debit card or your credit card. So that may be down for a little while. And we've heard this a few times in the past. And yet here we are still talking on the internet. Yet, my bank account access is still working. And this Life Force group, they talk about that too. We've heard about this 10 days of darkness, yet, we're doing everything in it. Yet this audio and video is coming out. And Life Force, they were talking about the fake alien invasion that level 1 is planning, which is supposed to be going on this week through basically holograms and the technologies they have through Project Bluebeam, to make it look like all these different alien aircraft are coming, to invade us, and then this space force is going to be the savior. And since we're going to give our power to the space force, they're going to dictate more military martial law kind of stuff upon us. And that actually backing up a bit, since March 20th last year, we are under military martial law right now, because that's when that New World Order faction declared war on the people. And Light Force has this lady that is like a general, or the commander of a certain aspect of when war breaks out. She's part of this board of people that need to be contacted about this plan of war and how it's happening. And now she represents the people, saying that we are actually responding back as your declare war on the people. So we're fighting back against martial law that is the attack on the people. So out of that, like, I always figured, yeah, Trump is the head of level 2 and that, and maybe he still is, I don't know. But this other faction, this Life Force, and which to me brought up some good points about, we've been waiting forever for the so-called positive military to be doing something, and they've done fuck all. What are they doing? What are they waiting for? If there's these, yeah, the deep state is very, very entrenched, and okay, we've heard that for years, but like the same story, it doesn't change. Have hope. This is gonna happen. Just be patient, dear ones. And all this, right? So I believe it is. I believe it is in the hands of the people to take back their lives or our lives and our planet back for ourselves, because it definitely is attack on the people. And so many people are so entrained into looking for mom and dad to help them and do their fighting for them, instead of stepping up and using their own ability, right? Their own organic ability. Just so you guys know, we got 2 minutes left, and then I'll have to we'll have to click on my link again.
Sorry, we have how much time left?
10 minutes.
Oh, okay. All
yeah,
right.
I unfortunately don't have a subscription to Zoom, so we're just
yeah, that's all right. Okay.
I guess I'll chime in for a little bit. I think something we really need to ask ourselves is, how much of our power are we willing to give away to whichever party gets inaugurated? Because at the end of the day, we're all still spiritually sovereign beings within ourselves, as long as we believe that. And as long as we're willing to hand our power away to any political party that gets elected or inaugurated, that's the extent that we will feel disempowered in our lives, and we won't be able to really grab life by the horns and fulfill our own passions. Like, we need to remember, even though that different parties do influence the world undeniably, we still carry our own energetic signature and our own energetic field that is attracting and repelling certain things based on our emotional and vibrational state. So if we maintain composure and peace and love and unity within ourselves and within our fellow human beings, that energy is still going to prevail regardless of what party is in the government. If I had to pick a side, I would be more on the liberal side as well, just like you, Mark. Just for progress, just because I'm not fully satisfied with what we have created in the past, and I would like to see more change going forward, more unity, less division. And it seems like the conservatives are a little bit more about the division and not really caring as much about the planet. They're more short-term sighted for the people, I guess, rather than being long-term sighted for multi-generations. But there's no judgment wherever people lie in their selecting a side, or if they refuse to select a side and vote altogether because they think it's just all silly. But regardless of the side that you're on, I just wanted to remind people that we still are our own self-governing beings, and like the goal of spirituality is to be self-sovereign and find your own power for the purpose of evolving towards love within yourself and evolving towards loving others more, I believe. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. But that is interesting. I haven't learned too much about the levels that you guys were speaking of, so I would
Ah,
be I would be more
okay.
interested in learning about that.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's talk about the levels.
Yeah.
uh, I find that grid of interpretation absolutely brilliant, personally. Is it okay, Michael, if I expose the three levels?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go for it. Go for it.
All right. So, humanity has been imposed upon for a very long time. I suppose that's not going to surprise anyone who's listening to this show. But the insight that George has had about this imposition is that it is layered, and you can identify three main layers to the imposition about the human race. And the first level is the one we are familiar with. It's the quote unquote Illuminati level. So these old bankster families and the black nobility, as it is called, uh, and the Vatican plays a very big role in that power system. So it's a theocratic model, basically, with secret societies and old families, both royal families and more background families, hidden families that you never hear about in the news. And that whole system basically is coming to an end. It is it is disintegrating at the moment, and it had a plan to bring about the new world order as we've heard of it and as we used to think of it. That was their plan to stay in power and even strengthen their grip. Now, what level 2 is basically overseen by what most people refer to as artificial intelligence. I should also mention that there was a very strong extraterrestrial, there still is a very strong extraterrestrial and interdimensional component to level 1. And level 1 has a strong, to also speak in traditional terms, it has a strong satanic connotation, meaning that there is a lot of black magic going on. There is a lot of ritual sacrifice going on, including and maybe especially of children. So it's very dark, and it's what we call synthetic dark. It's not natural dark; it's artificial dark. Very, very disgusting thing. So level 2 is mainly technological and really run by a being that we could call the god of artificial intelligence. And it has basically infiltrated pretty much everything, every aspect of society at this point. Financial system, the military, even religion. It really has its tentacles everywhere, and it is possessing the minds of many people. And there are also many extraterrestrial races and interdimensional races that are part of that layer of the imposition, and that are currently in a struggle with the races that are more connected to layer one to actually kick them out. And level 3, which is actually ultimately pulling the strings of all this game, is the level of the deities. It's the gods of synthetic light. And they are basically the gods of religions. And they are the ones who feeds upon human devotion and human worship, not only human, because they are cosmic level beings. So they are feeding upon many races' worship and devotion. And they are basically using synthetic dark as a scarecrow to get people to embrace their synthetic light. But what they are doing is that they are using level 2, they are using artificial intelligence to sever humanity's connection with the earth so that humans can be more easily harvested and brought into their realms of synthetic light. Now, regarding the political situation, Michael, when you say that Trump is representative of level 2, I agree with that. But I believe he represents certain aspects of layer 3 as well, because he's all about, God, and his supporters are obsessed with that G word.
Yeah, Mark.
And
we're gonna shut down pretty quick, so
okay.
it's left. It could be in a second here right now. So yeah, really good information shared, and when I edit this, I'll just cut this out, and then we'll just piece it together. But,
okay.
Yeah, that's
Good breakdown. That's a good breakdown of all three.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. 'Cause, like